These are one of these videos where it's like we are getting deep. So before I ask you this question, please pause the video and get a notebook and put this question in your notebook, or you could put the notes in your phone. But I really want you guys to take this video seriously and sit down and ask yourself, if you haven't asked yourself this already. So the question I want to ask you is, if anything was possible, what do you really want? If anything was possible, what do you really want? Now, I'm going to dive deeper into this question because I'm making this video on my experience. I recently, the last couple months, I've been going back and forth, maybe even more, maybe the last year or two. I was going back and forth to like what I really wanted in my life, and I realized there's been a few times where I realized that I was almost making my plan B plan the main plan because of limiting beliefs, because of playing it safe, being realistic with myself, when deep down I wanted something even more. And I'll explain what my plans were and what they are now. But when people say you could do whatever you want in your life, obviously there's restrictions. Like, it's not going to be some dumb shit like, oh, you could start flying or you could be invisible or even something extreme, which is it's still possible. But like, say you want to be the president or you want to do something very, very extreme. There's very, very small odds of that happening. But at the same time, when people say that, you have to think, I'm telling you this because I think so. I've seen it in a lot of people. You're way more capable than you think you are. And it all comes back to mindset. That's why I have this channel. I go over a lot of mindset and self-development. And I'll probably go over a little like gym stuff too, but like there's so many gym influencers, and it's like mindset is so important. So that's why I chose the niche I chose, because I really feel like it revolves around everything. But when people say you could do whatever you want, I feel like a lot of people, especially if you're watching this right now and you're watching this type of content, that you're way more capable than you think you are. Because I realized that with myself too. When you set limiting beliefs on yourself, and this could kind of trap you, because not only could you put limiting beliefs on yourself, but your parents can, your friends can, your teachers can, and then you kind of evolve into something like you're almost like a limited or a restricted version of yourself, where you're kind of lying to yourself on what you really want just to be more realistic or be follow the path when you could have done something even greater. So I'm going to explain my story, and then I want you guys to reflect on your life right now and ask yourself, like, are you really where you want to be? Or are you following the path that you want to be? Because I'm not saying to go out and quit your job and like move across the country right now. If you have to do that, fine. But like, it doesn't have to be extreme, but just even being aware of what you really want is a step in the right direction, rather than say you're on this certain path right now and you're just lying to yourself. Even if you stay on this path and you make little changes to try and achieve your dream, that's better than like just not being aware of it at all or like lying to yourself. So my current path the last few years is I work a job. I basically like I work at a railroad. I don't really talk about my job much on here because I just keep my job and my YouTube or like online presence separate. That's just how I want to go about it for now. But I basically work a railroad job, and my dream as a kid was to always be a locomotive engineer, which, for those of you who don't know, a locomotive engineer is like the person who operates the train, not like the tickets. Everyone gets it mixed up with conductor, but it's like a person that drives the train in a way or operates the train. It's basically almost like a pilot, but for a train. And I always wanted to do that as a kid. And last year, I did take the test for it. I did pass, and I'm basically waiting back to hear if they will let me in the program because it's a very long program. It's almost 2 years long of training and studying. And then, even when you pass that training and studying, you have a very disciplined, restricted, and it's a very like strict lifestyle. Like, you're almost trading a lot of freedom and discipline just to pursue that path. And it's something that I didn't completely turn down yet, but you see how this is where I'm getting to. I had a dream of this when I was younger. It's not like I'm lying to myself and saying, oh, I don't want to do this. But I was like, I even have dreams beyond that. Like, if I want, like I said from the beginning question, if you anything was possible, what do you really want? That means like there's no restrictions, like the amount of money you want, the type of girl you want. Like, get very specific in your notebook. Remove all restrictions. Like, how much money do you want? Do you want to make 50K a year, 100K a year, $1 million a year, 10 million? Like, I mean, no restriction at all. Like, be somewhat realistic, but at the same time, like, not realistic. Like, currently, there's no trillionaire. So, like, don't, like, be like, oh, yeah, I want to be, like, the first fucking trillionaire. Like, you could have that as your goal, but, like, I try to think, like, somewhat unrealistic, but, like, that is actually achievable. Like, I'm not going to straight up come on here and be like, oh, I want to become the president and I'm going to start flying. That is, like, not realistic. But if I'm like, I want to make 100,000 a month or something like that, it is very extreme, but at the same time, it is possible. So be very specific on the income you want. Be specific on the body type you want, the way you want to look. That's a very important thing too. I'm gonna make a whole video on this too. But I realize your dream life really stems from manifesting the person you want to be. My whole journey on this self-development journey, I really took a step back from money and lifestyle and just manifested the person I want to be. Like, what are the traits I want to have? How do I want to communicate? How do I want people to look at me? How do I want to, like, treat myself, discipline, like, all this type of stuff. If you manifest the person you want to be, your lifestyle will follow up to that. Like, it will catch up once you become that person. So don't put the lifestyle manifestation first. Like, think like the person you want to be and take the steps to get there, and then your lifestyle will follow. But going back to the question, do not bullshit yourself, because you could lie to other people, you could lie to your family, you could lie to your coworkers. But at the end of the day, you can't lie to yourself, because you know deep down that you're lying to yourself. Even when you get older and you thought, oh, like, is this really what I wanted? Did I really pick the life I wanted? When you're about to die and you reflect, you do not want to lie to yourself. At least if you're honest with yourself and knowing that you tried to follow the path and you knew you were honest with yourself, you could live with that. But if you knew you lied to yourself and time passes, you're going to regret that. But yes, be very specific on the income, the partner you want to be with, the area you want to live in. Say you're living in an area right now that you have to stay for your job. Like, for me, like, I have to be in New York to have my job. If I move to somewhere else and I can't clock in, I can't have my job. So I even thought of stuff like that, even though that's the nice thing about visioning or thinking about your path, writing down notes. It doesn't mean like you're actually going to go out and freaking quit your job tomorrow, move across the country, but it's okay to imagine it or envision it and be real what you want, because then you'll make decisions and choices that maybe you could do on the side of your job before you quit what you really want. So, say if you live somewhere right now that you don't want and you want to move, you want to have a whole different life path, you want to have a different career. Say you're in a relationship you don't want, you want to have a better relationship, or say you're not in the shape you want to be. Be real with yourself and really reflect on this. Because, like I said, I'm not going to be out here and say I never wanted to be an engineer. I always wanted to do that. But I was trying to be a little bit more realistic. So, going more into my story, I realized this path I want to take is very disciplined and very restricted. And I can't travel all the time. You you get drug tested all the time. You have to be very strict with your license. Like if you get something wrong with your license, they could take you out of service. You can't just take off whenever you want. You can't just call out sick immediately. There's a lot of rules you have to follow and a lot of restriction. And I asked myself, I'm like, do I really want that? What do I really want in my life? And it is basically, I still work at the job I'm at and I'm waiting to hear back. But I was like, I always wanted to make money online, but there's been a lot of opportunities in the past where I tried to make money online that just didn't feel right because they were like quick, easy, like, oh, I'm going to drop ship, or I'm going to do social media marketing, or I'm going to do sales. But I realized to build something real and to build a real personal brand and to grow real, like no ads or like some bullshit promotion or whatever, and do something meaningful, it takes way longer than some like fucking drop shipping, or some girls are starting OnlyFans. Like shit like that is like, yeah, you could probably make money on it, but is it fulfilling, and is it something real, and is it something long lasting? Because I realized for the most part, shit, when you come up quick, it doesn't last as long. But the stuff that takes a while to build and it is real is something that can last for like 20, 30 years. So these last few years, I've been very, very big into self-development and mindset. And I love talking about it. Like when I talk to my friends or family, like they could tell that I'm very passionate about it. And I thought to myself one day, I was like, why don't I start a personal brand around this and eventually share my vision and my perspective with others to potentially help them or impact them at the same time as making an income from it? Because I'm not making any money off these videos so far. Like, I'm not making any money on my YouTube, my Instagram, or TikTok. I'm not selling anything. And I know in the beginning, like, you have to like build a foundation before you start monetizing or doing stuff like that. But I wanted to take the jump and actually try to do what I want, which is basically impact people online and make an income from it. But like I'm doing something that I really enjoy. And at the same time, this is the biggest difference from the other path I wanted to pick, is my freedom. Like there's no real cap to how much money I can make. There's not a certain location I have to be at. There's not a boss I have to listen to be like, oh, I have to call out at this time, or you have a certain amount of personal days, or you have a certain amount of vacation days. Obviously, taking this path, you still have to work hard. Like people think if you run a business, it's like, oh, like You have so much freedom. If anything, people that run and start businesses have to work way harder and way more hours than someone that just does a regular job, but they are their own boss. So say you got to do 80-hour weeks, but like 1 week you have to take off to go to like someone's wedding, or like you want to do something you want to do. You can do that. But it doesn't mean you're not going to work hard and you're not going to try to put the best effort into it as you can. But this is the point I'm trying to get across is I have my plan B. It's almost a plan A. Like, imagine someone being like, oh, I want to be a pilot, which, like I said, an engineer is like a pilot, but for a train. I want to be a pilot. And you tell that to people, who'll be like, wow, that's like amazing. Like, and it is. But a lot of people will think that's the main path. Like, that's the highest you could go. That's your plan A. But what if you wanted to take it even further? Like, even remove more restrictions off and be like, you know what? I think that's really cool and I do want to pursue that. But this is really what I want to do. Because think of it right now. Like, you might be following something you want right now, but there's something even greater than that you want even more. And that's what I'm trying to get to on this reflection period, is just genuinely ask yourself, is this truly what I want to do? And then once you find out what you want to do, then you could still be like safe or smart about it. Like I said, I didn't just go up and figure this out and be like, yo, I'm going to quit my job tomorrow. No, I'm still working my job, but like I'm showing up every day after work or on my off days, and like I'm recording and taking my time and do these videos because I have this idea of like what I truly want. So my idea is like, I know a lot of people say, oh, you got to quit and go all in. I personally disagree with that. I feel like you could do two things with the full amount of effort. And then once you see one take off a little bit more, then you could pull back on the other one or quit and then go all in, and then it will really take off. But you could get a little momentum doing the same thing. So that's what I'm currently doing. And I'm not going to say I'm just never not going to follow the engineer path, but at least I know at the end of the day that I tried to at least achieve my other dream. Even if it didn't work, I'll just be like, oh yeah, put in the effort. I at least tried. And I look at it like, say you have two really big dreams. Like for me, it's to be an engineer, but also make money online doing what I love. I look at it like I might as well try both, because one of them can hit or both of them can hit. And then if both of them are like, I achieve both of them, I could see which one I like more and let go of the other one, and then fully going on the actual dream I want. But I feel like you could chase two dreams because neither of them might hit, one of them might hit, or the best case scenario, both of them hits. And then you decide from there. And also, I want to leave you guys with this. When you find this dream that you want, or like you find what you really want, just keep it towards yourself, or like, because when you change paths or you reinvent yourself or you change your identity, sometimes it makes people react weird around you, either if it's your family, your friends, or your coworkers. Like, imagine you've been working at a job for, like, this could be one of you guys, like you've been working at a job for 20 years or say 10 years, and then you just are like, you know what, I want to open up a food truck, or I want to move across the country and start something new. They might look at you crazy and they'd be like, oh, that's stupid, or like you shouldn't do that, or whatever. So either keep it to yourself, or if you do tell people, be ready for that reaction, because there is going to be a lot of people that, like, if you imagine the people that you're telling your dreams to, they told your, like, they said their dreams to you, you might have a crazy reaction. So you have to be okay with, like, when you make a change or you reinvent yourself or you want to change your life, when you tell your family, your friends, your coworkers, they might have a weird reaction, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad path. They just know you from the identity they knowed you for like the last 10 years. But that doesn't mean you have to be like that for the next 10 years. You could change and adjust and reinvent yourself. So I hope you guys appreciate that video. If you haven't, subscribe. I keep trying to like put out content that is real. Like all these videos, I just put down bullet points and I kind of go off the top of my head of experiences I had. I don't script. I try not to, I try to speak on topics that I want to speak about. And like that might not get me the most views, but at least I know I'm keeping my personal brand real. We're keeping this channel real. I'm staying real. And hopefully that impacts you guys. So let's get after it this week. See you in the next one.